New York, one of the world's finest cities, is constantly a frenzy of activity, with famous sights around every corner and seldom enough time to see them all. Some tourists come to see the Broadway performances, others come to shop and eat, and still more come to view the sights, such as the Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building, the Brooklyn Bridge, Central Park, historic districts, and countless world-renowned museums. Many of the top spots to see in New York are within walking distance of one another or only a short train journey away, making touring in this city a breeze. The High Line and One World Observatory, two newer tourist attractions in New York that opened in recent years, provide distinctive viewpoints of the city. There's always something to see and do in New York. No matter what time of year it is or what time of day or night it is, you might want to take advantage of having the city to yourself. Our guide to New York's major attractions will help you plan your vacation. Let's see best places to visit in New York. Times Square. Times Square, which is lined with massive, brightly illuminated billboards and displays, is a place to be in New York in the evening, but it's also fascinating at any time of day. New York's New Year's Eve celebrations take place here, including the famed ball drop at midnight, when the square and surrounding streets are packed with people. Times Square is bustling and always crowded, yet it has its own distinct appeal. The bleachers at one end are a fantastic location to relax and take in the scenery. Longacre Square was renamed Times Square in 1904 after the New York Times Tower. In 1928, the newspaper became the first in the world to display current headlines on a moving sign. If you've got your fill of sitting on the bleachers and want to do something exciting as a group or as a pair, head over to the Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. The astonishingly lifelike wax miniatures feature New York City icons like Jimmy Fallon and The Tonight Show set, Broadway cast members, and plays where you can dress up and participate. The glass dome of the structure protrudes over Times Square, providing spectacular vistas. One World Observatory. One World Observatory, located at the summit of the newly constructed One World Trade Center building, offers spectacular views from floors 100, 101, and 102, 1,776 feet above the city. The ride to the top in the elevator is part of the attraction. As you climb, the surrounding panels depict New York as it has evolved over time, from a rural environment to the modern metropolis. This glass structure, visible from all around the city, is a one-of-a-kind structure on the Manhattan skyline, with angles that give it a distinctive aspect. The tower seems pyramidal if you stand near the base and stare straight up. If you want to go up and see the view, you can purchase an NYC One World Observatory Skip the Line ticket to save time. But keep in mind that you will still have to pass through security. High Line. The High Line, a former rail line that has been turned into an urban walking trail above the city streets, is an interesting and recently expanded attraction in New York City. This one-of-a-kind linear public park is home to a diverse collection of plants and trees, many of which are native to the area. Many of these blossom in the spring. In most places, the park is ringed with glass railings, giving it a natural sense while still providing spectacular views of the city. From Gansevoort Street on the south end, south of West 13th Street to West 34th Street on the north end, this oasis on Manhattan's west side runs parallel to 10th Avenue for the most part. It is accessible at several points throughout the route, some of which have only stair access and others that have both stair and elevator access. Despite the fact that the High Line is only 2 to 3 levels above street level, the views of the city's architecture and lookouts over the streets provide a whole different viewpoint. Art installations, seats, and a sitting area with bleacher-style seating and a glass wall looking out into the city can be found throughout the path. The route is extensively used, and weekends can be very busy. Yet it is still a pleasant getaway without the surrounding traffic. Central Park. A stroll, pedal, or carriage ride through Central Park's crisscrossing pathways is a must-do on anyone's New York City bucket list. You may even lace up your skates and glide across Woolman Rink in the winter. One of the things that makes New York such a lovely and pleasant city is this massive park in the city center, which is a half-mile broad and 2.5 miles long. Apart from being a terrific spot to get some fresh air, Central Park boasts a plethora of attractions within its boundaries, the majority of which are free, making it one of the few inexpensive things to do. The Belvedere Castle, Strawberry Fields, Central Park Zoo, and the lake are among the most popular destinations to visit. If you're going to explore the park on your own, get a map from one of the visitor centers and plan your route. Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty, America's most iconic site, is at the top of every first-time visitor's list of things to do in New York. It was France's gift to the United States. It is a universal emblem of freedom and one of America's greatest attractions, having been built in 1886. It is just under 152 feet tall from base to torch and weighs around 450,000 pounds, making it one of the world's tallest monuments. The statue can be seen from land, with particularly nice views from Battery Park on Manhattan's southern point. To properly appreciate the Statue of Liberty, though, taking a short boat ride to Liberty Island and seeing it up close is the finest option. Take a leisurely stroll around the base, and then enter the pedestal if you have reservations. As of this writing, the crown is still closed. When taking a tour of the Statue of Liberty, you can stop at Ellie's Island and see the Immigration Museum. This amazing museum is housed in the old Immigration Station complex, which saw thousands of immigrants screened before being allowed to enter the United States. The exhibits focus on the procedure, the experiences, and the tales of the people who passed through here on their way to America. Rockefeller Center. Rockefeller Center is on practically every tourist's itinerary when it comes to New York attractions. The 70-story 30 Rockefeller Plaza, an Art Deco skyscraper with amazing views of Manhattan from the famed Top of the Rock observation deck, is the centerpiece of this large entertainment and shopping complex in the heart of Manhattan, which is home to NBC TV and other media. The deck, as it's known, is made up of 3 floors, the 67th, 69th, and 70th. Day or night, the indoor and outdoor viewing areas provide breathtaking views. A Top of the Rock observation deck ticket can be purchased in advance. These tickets have a flexible voucher redemption policy, which means you can alter the day if your plans change or the weather isn't cooperating. Skating on the outdoor rink at the base of the tower is a popular winter sport in New York City, and it's a great activity for families and couples. From October through April, the rink is usually open. A large Christmas tree is placed in front of the skating rink after Thanksgiving, illuminating the facility for the holiday season. Many people travel to New York in December solely to witness this attraction. Empire State Building. The Empire State Building is a well-known landmark and popular tourist attraction in New York City, until the One World Trade Center skyscraper rose taller 41 years later. The 381-meter-tall, 102-story structure was the world's tallest. When it first opened in 1931, the Empire State Building, which was topped with an airship mooring tower, became a landmark and a symbol for New York City. The Empire State Building has 2 observatories, both of which offer spectacular views. On clear days, you can see up to 80 miles into New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, and Massachusetts, which are all neighboring states. The city's highest open-air observation deck, the 86th floor observatory, 1,050 feet, is what most tourists anticipate to see when they visit the Empire State Building. If it looks familiar, it's because this location has been featured in a number of films and television shows. 9/11 Memorial and Museum. Before being demolished by suicide-piloted jetliners on September 11, 2001, the twin 110-story World Trade Center towers dominated the Manhattan skyline, resulting in a tragic loss of life. Where the World Trade Center's 2 towers once stood, 2 one-acre square reflecting ponds have been created. The National September 11 Memorial honors the almost 3,000 people who died in the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001, as well as the 6 people murdered in the World Trade Center bombing in February 1993. Water pours over the walls and falls into an apparently unlimited area in the subterranean ponds, which are flanked by trees and grass. These are the largest man-made waterfalls in North America. The pools are surrounded by bronze plaques with the names of all individuals killed in the attacks. Brooklyn Bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge is one of the city's most famous monuments, with its Gothic-shaped arches and suspension cables inspiring generations of poets, musicians, and painters. This historic bridge, which connects Manhattan and Brooklyn across the East River, was the world's first steel suspension bridge when it opened in 1883. Many ferries on the east side of Manhattan offer views of it, but the best way to see it is to take an hour and stroll across the Brooklyn Bridge. Only walkers and bicycles have access to a wood plank boardwalk that runs above the traffic lanes. If you don't feel like going the entire distance, at least get to the first pillar, where there is an observation platform where you may get a close look at one of the granite towers. Beautiful views of Manhattan. the East River, and the Statue of Liberty may be seen from the bridge. Cycling over the bridge is another option, however pedestrian traffic can be strong on peak days, making cycling slow and difficult. Keep in mind that the bridge's entrance is set back from the water's edge. Fifth Avenue. Fifth Avenue is one of America's most famous shopping streets, and it is home to several of the world's most well-known designers' flagship businesses. This upscale boulevard is lined with Cartier, Tiffany, Bergdorf Goodman, the iconic Apple Store, Fifth Avenue, and of course, Saks Fifth Avenue, among many others. A stroll down Fifth Avenue is enjoyable for shoppers and non-shoppers alike. The ideal region is between 60th Street and 40th Street, which runs roughly from the south end of Central Park to the New York Public Library. Grand Central Terminal. Grand Central Terminal, often known as Grand Central Station, is a magnificent Beaux-Arts structure that is well worth a visit. The structure, first built in 1913, is a subway and train station terminal. Outside, the 42nd Street colonnaded faces and the statuary on top are some of the key highlights. Inside, you can't miss the grand staircase, where you can stop to gaze out over the concourse. The beautifully restored ceiling here shows a celestial scene. Wall Street. The world-famous Wall Street runs for 8 city blocks from Broadway to South Street. Some of the world's most important exchanges are located on this street and in the adjacent region, including the New York Stock Exchange, the Nasdaq, and the New York Mercantile Exchange. The majestic Trinity Church and Federal Hall are also nearby. On Broadway, look for the bronze monument of Charging Bull in Bowling Green. This is a great photo opportunity for visitors and one of the most prominent tourist sites in the financial district. Radio City Music Hall. Radio City Music Hall, a popular entertainment facility and a designated city monument, is located in the shadow of Rockefeller Center. The Rockettes Dancing Troupe performs at this 193 Art Deco Theater, which also hosts musical extravaganzas and films. The Rockefellers built and funded the structure in the 193s, and it housed the world's largest indoor theater at the time. The facility now hosts a number of notable events, including the Grammy Awards and the Tony Awards. Its large marquee, which arcs around the building and runs down the street, is difficult to miss. St. Patrick's Cathedral. St. Patrick's Cathedral is one of New York's finest examples of Gothic revival, with its massive bronze doors, white marble facade, 330-foot spires, the great organ, rose window, bronze baldachin, 2,400 seating capacity, and the statue of Pieta at the side of the Lady Chapel. The cathedral attracts millions of visits each year, making it a popular destination for both Christians and tourists. The structure was built in 1879 and has been meticulously renovated and maintained over the years, including a $200 million refurbishment completed in 2016. Bryant Park. On a hot summer day, nothing beats a relaxing afternoon at Bryant Park. There are monuments and gardens on the grounds, as well as Le Carousel, a popular carousel. For a modest cost, chess, checkers, and backgammon boards are offered in a gaming room. Until 1989, when the city recovered Bryant Park and transformed it into a lovely urban oasis. It was a sleazy area notorious for violence and a hangout for undesirables. This park has been welcomed by the community, and it is now a delight to walk through. Even if you don't want to play a game, watching others play is entertaining. When the snow falls and the temperature drops, Bryant Park transforms into an outdoor skating rink. Unlike the one in Central Park, this little rink is free to use. You can either bring your own skates or rent them from the concession stand. Do you have no idea how to skate? It's no problem. Skating aids, which are comparable to walkers used by the elderly, can be rented. Try to visit on Tuesdays or Thursdays if possible. The Ice Theater of New York performs artistic skating performances at 12:40 p.m. The park is directly across the street from the New York Public Library.